Rankings is out, so let's talk about it right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome into another episode of Locked On Rays. My name is Ulises Sambrano, and on behalf of Kevin Weiss, we're the hosts of Locked On Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays and email us at lockedonrays@gmail.com. Please make sure to hit that like button right now if you're watching on YouTube and the subscribe button because we're so close to 700 people. We're like 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 away. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're number 700, guess what? You get a shout out on the next episode. Boom, organic like that. Before we get started, I would like to tell you that this episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. That is Gametime. So today, as you can tell, I am writing solo, and I just wanted to talk about this power ranking that we did for the Locked On Podcast Network, all MLB hosts. We did it individually, and it was really fun. I had a lot of fun kind of going 1 through 30 on here. As you know, there's 1 week left of camp. I believe the number is at 47. There are 47 players left at Rays camp. The WBC is done. So this is right now where we get into the preseason power rankings. And well, the MLB hosts from the Locked On Podcast Network have joined in and created one. So if you're on YouTube, you actually will get a chance to see this ranking. And if you're not, well, shame on you. Hop on over to YouTube and you can see it. But if you can't, don't worry. I will do my best to get that imagery skills going on. So here we go. So these are the MLB Power Rankings that we did. All the hosts. Let's start with the third column on the right, which are teams ranked 30 to 21. And they're in order. Number 30, the Nationals. 29, Athletics. 28, Tigers. 27th, Rockies. 26, Reds. 25th, Pirates. 24th, Royals. 23rd, Marlins. 22nd, Cubs. And 21st, Red Sox. Right off the bat, I think the Reds are way too high at 26. I mean, not to throw shade, but it's I just don't see anything that has changed really from last year in that club. Another thing, the Pirates at 25th, good for them for not being 29th or 30th. I think they've been 29th or 30th for a long, long time now. And they've got some good faces. Of course, Ji-Man Choi, we know he's there. Santana, they've done a little bit to improve that club with major league guys. Maybe not dudes that will put up 3-4 WAR a season, but they will give you the 1.5, maybe 2 if everything breaks correctly. And so that is an improvement if you're a Pirates fan. So it should be fun. Also, you've got O'Neal Cruz, you've got Key Brian Hayes. So it should be a funner year for Pittsburgh Pirates fans. At 23rd, the Marlins. Maybe it's that Florida bias in me, but I don't know. I do like what the Marlins are doing there. I mean, their pitching staff is incredible. I think it's kind of not dissimilar to the Rays. They know how to do that. Of course, they've got the reigning Cy Young in Sandy Alcantara, Jesus Luzardo. I feel like they can do something with the pitching, but can they hit though? Can they hit? I know they traded away Pablo Lopez for Luis Arias, Venezuelan bump on either side. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's that Florida bias in me that I'm thinking they're too low. Also, it's a very tough division, the NL East. Then the Red Sox with our first AL East team at 21st. I think that's right where they belong. To be quite frank, I do not see this raggedy misfit, you know, bunch of dudes that will do a lot of noise in the AL East. I just think the AL East is too good for that to work out. I think Kyle Bloom is just trying to stretch some time and kind of make it a competitive team. Hopefully, if everything breaks correctly the right way, then yeah, they could be a sneaky wild card team. If not, well, guess what? If some of those guys are performing well, then you might be able to get some of the return from them. So that's yeah, again, my Rays bias might be getting into me and thinking that they are right where they belong, but I just do not see them being any better than that. If we move on to the second column, which are teams from the ranks 20th to 11th. 20th, Arizona Diamondbacks. 19th, the Giants. 18th, the Orioles. 17th, the Rangers. 16th, White Sox. 15th, Brewers. 14th, the Angels. 13th, Twins. 12, your Tampa Bay Rays. And number 11, the St. Louis Cardinals. Right here, I do want to, man, I love Bryce Patrick from Locked On Texas Rangers. He's awesome. I don't see them being better than the Baltimore Orioles. I really, really don't. I know maybe that's an an AL East bias. Again, so many biases in this episode. But I was really impressed with what Baltimore can do, and we saw how their pitching improved, especially their bullpen and the stadium. The outfield fences being pushed back and a little bit higher. That helped their pitching staff. They've got some really good guys coming up. I know that everybody was, excited about Adley Rutschman, but he's not the only one coming in. So that young talent, if it breaks right, just like with Adley, it could be really, really interesting. So them being below the Rangers, which I know, Nady Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, Andrew Heaney, that's a good rotation, but it just feels like doesn't have a lot of foundational depth. Like if one of those guys goes, if Jacob deGrom gets down, like what happens then? I'm sure Bryce can answer that question very easily. But from the third party perspective, it's just not enough for me. Going down, the White Sox at 16, they have the talent. We all know they have the talent, but they've been underwhelming, especially last year. They have to do something before giving them that much credit. Really, I know they've got the talent, but it's a little bit too high up there. And the Angels at 14th, interesting offseason. I know the moves with Urshela and Renfroe, that should be good for them. I know the starting rotation doesn't get a lot of props, but it was good. And they've got obviously Ohtani, Anderson, Suarez, Detmer, so it should be solid. I don't know much about their depth, so that would be a question to ask the Angels guys, Mike and John, who do a really, really good job with Locked On Angels. If you haven't checked that out, they are really, really funny and very, very smart. Now we get to number 12 of the Rays. But before I tell you what I think about that ranking, let me tell you about Gametime. Okay, Gametime is this amazing new app that will take out all that stress from buying tickets. Okay, you're trying to find them last minute. You just want to go to the concert, you just want to go to the ball game, and you're just stressed out of your mind. Well, that is not going to be the case with Gametime. Okay, so if you use Gametime, which is the place for last minute ticket deals, you get lowest price guarantee, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, and images of seat views. This is the best thing about this app that I love. Gametime is the place for last minute ticket deals, so you can actually get like I said, the images of their seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect before you get there. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. So today. Snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. You can download the Gametime app, create an account, and then use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. You heard me right. $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB and you get $20 off. So get the $20 off, people. It's amazing. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Again, as I'm solo, I do have to wash that ad read a little bit. So give me 2 seconds, people. Thank you for your patience. So Rays being at 12 bothers me. It bothers me. Because once again, we should all be adjusted to this. We should all be used to this. The Rays are never going to get the recognition or the right props that they should get. Again, small market. Everybody just keeps, thinking like, I'm a Beatles fan, so I will do my simile here. When is the bubble gonna burst? That was the whole thing about Beatlemania. Oh, when is the bubble gonna burst? Well, it's been 60 years. The bubble didn't burst. Okay, Beatles epic. All right, so that's the thing about the Rays as well. They always go, oh, when is the bubble gonna burst in that Rays front office? Oh, can they do it again with that salary, with that budget, with that payroll, with that market, with that attendance, with that stadium? Yeah, they can, and they've proven so since 2008. I don't know how much more they can do for the national media to take notice, but you know what? I think it's a little bit better that it's this way because it just makes us appreciate the team a little bit more. I think if the Rays were always between 1 through 8, I think we would maybe not appreciate the good times as much. I mean, ask who fans, and they're obnoxious. So they're at 12. I don't think they should be 12. I think they should be a top 10 team. So if you are just jumping on YouTube, let me show you the rankings one more time, and then let's go to the first column there. Number 10, it's the Cleveland Guardians, who beat the Rays last year in the AL Wildcard Series. Number 9, Seattle Mariners. Number 8, Toronto Blue Jays. Number 7, Philadelphia Phillies. New York Yankees at number 6. Number 5, the LA Dodgers. Number 4, the New York Mets. Number 3, the Houston Astros. Number 2, San Diego Padres. And number 1, Atlanta Braves. So first, let me take a little bit of umbrage here with not the Guardians being at 10, not the Mariners at 9. It's the Blue Jays at number 8. I for the life of me, I do not understand why we are so quick as fans to just give so much credit because of what's on paper. It's so annoying. Yes, do they look like a great team? Yes, they do. Have they done anything to show up? No, they haven't. They have not. In 2020, when they went to the playoffs, guess what? The Rays swept them. 2021, they didn't make the playoffs. 2022, they got swept at home by a team that hadn't been to the playoffs since I was 10 years old. Since Ichiro Suzuki was the AL Rookie of the Year. I mean, I get it. They look nice on paper. Kevin Gossman, Chris Bassett, that's a really good strong. Alek Manoah, for God's sakes. I mean, that guy, Alek Manoah and Shane McClanahan are going to have a really good next 3 years of head-to-head matchups, and it's going to be really fun. So they've got top-heavy rotation. I don't think they have a really good back part of that rotation with Kikuchi and Barrios. Barrios looked awful in the WBC. And again, I think they did well by getting some defense with Kevin Kiermaier. They got some veteran leadership with Brenton Belt, which apparently was missing. I think Bichette was one of the players that said that they kind of needed a little bit more veteran voices in that clubhouse. Maybe that's a switch, but yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing Vladdy say, "Oh, what you saw last year was the trailer. Now you're going to see the movie." Well, I went to get popcorn and you got swept out, man. I mean, I didn't even get a chance to see you. I was in the concession stand still. That was a quick movie, a real quick movie. So that's really my biggest thing is at number 8, the Toronto Blue Jays. You got to do something, man. We get it. It's kind of like the White Sox. Like, I see the talent, but can you show it before we put you at number 8? Really? We're putting them at number 8, people? I disagree with that entirely. Moving up, number 7 with the Phillies, you give your respect to the Philadelphia Phillies. Everybody was like, "Oh man, they're gonna drop so many balls in the infield and the outfield. The defense is not gonna work. This is awful. They're just gonna mash." World Series, baby, World Series. That's fantastic. Everything broke right for them, and guess what? They got Tampa Bay Rays legend Trey Turner for $300 million. Parentheses here. Does it not hurt just a little bit knowing that Trey Turner was a Rays player for 3.5 minutes and we just got Steven Souza Jr. instead? Moment of silence. Take a drink, people. You need a drink after I made you remember that. Oof, woof. Oh man, Trey Turner. That would have been nice, people. That would have been real nice. Oh man, imagine. Can we just 2019 with Trey Turner? Oof. I know you're gonna say, well, what up, Willie Adames? You move Willie Adames when you have Trey Turner. I think it would just make the team a lot better. Okay, moving on. Number 6, the Yankees at number 6. Again, just like the Rays, they're the 180. Always going to get props, even if they do not deserve it. I get it. Rodon has been amazing the last 2 years. Guess what? He's going to be shelved. Montas, shelved. So now, what? 40% of your rotation is non-existent for to start the season. So it's basically Cole, Severino, Domingo Germán, and then the kid who they put in the bullpen and then they put him to open and then bullpen again. I don't know. I don't feel really good about that rotation. Again, it's very, very top heavy. Garrett Cole is amazing, but he's also the son of Ji-Man Choi. Again, they're always going to be overrated. I think at 6 is a little bit too high for my taste. But Stacey Gotsulias probably feels differently from Locked On Yankees. Let's see if Kevin puts up a fight on Tuesday's episode, where we will have an AL East roundtable. So every AL East host is going to talk about their team and what they expect from the 2023 season. And guess what? I delegated Kevin to do that this year. I did it last year, and this is why I'm doing this episode with you guys. So, okay, back from bureaucracy. Number 5, the Dodgers. I don't disagree. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that with them. Number 4, the Mets. Again, I think on paper, they're really good. They showed last year that they can be a 100-win team, a 99-win team, whatever it was. They lost DeGrom, so they were like, okay, let's just get Justin Verlander instead. I don't know how you can not see a drop-off in talent when you lose Jacob DeGrom, but getting Justin Verlander might be that only way to do that. So terrific move by them. Let's see if it pays off. Let's see if he has found that fountain youth for more than 1 year. Number 3, 2, 1, Astros, Padres, and Braves. I love what the Braves are doing with locking up that young talent, doing their trades with in the catching and the first base position. That's fantastic with the Oakland A's. I think Sean Murphy and Matt Olson, that those deals are great. Acuna, of course, Albies. Austin Riley, that's a loaded team. They've got the veteran leadership from Charlie Morton, Strider, is apparently the next big thing in baseball. Max Fried. That's a really loaded team. So I can see the argument for them being number one. I would have just switched. If it were me, I would just put the Astros number one and then the Braves number two. The Padres can be number three in my book. I just, what else do the Houston Astros need to do? And I know before you say, well, not bang on trash cans, I have said it in a previous episode this week. I am done with the trash can bit. I am done with it. It's a new season. It's been 6 years since it happened. It's been 4 years since the information is out. I'm done with the trash can bit. Dude, they go to the ALCS every year. Like, what else do they need to do to get some respect here? I mean, maybe they do get respect, and being number 3 is awesome, but I think they deserve the number 1 spot. Reigning World Series champions, and there's just talent that just oozes. So that is the Locked On MLB Power Rankings, a preseason poll. So let's see how right all of us were by the end of this year. But before I get to your comments, let me tell you a little bit about FanDuel. The tournament that Kevin just loves is heating up, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. So just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It is safe, it is secure, and it is super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers and threes drained. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/locked-on. That's FanDuel.com/locked-on to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. I bet you all thought I was going to say the NBA. Well, no. They give you a changeup. You got to be ready for those changeups. Okay. That's the third segment. I want to read what you guys thought about the power rankings that we did for the Locked On Podcast Network, all MLB hosts. So I'm reading them here. Samuel Bayless, all the way from Australia. He says, let's prove them wrong like every year. Let's hope so, man. Luke Williamson at LTW0303 says, no Flaherty? Nope. What have the Jays done? I agree with you, Luke. Guardians beat us last year, but do they have the depth of the Rays? I don't think so. Rays are a top 10 team. I don't disagree that the Rays are a top 10 team. I wouldn't put the Guardians as the how dare they be in front of us. Like they were better than the Rays. They beat them. I know it's 2 games. Anybody can beat 2 games. I understand that. But they did have, they signed Josh Bell. They got Mike Zunino. That should help with the offense. It should help their pitching staff with Zunino behind the plate if he's healthy. I'm not going to hate on the Guardians. Actually, I do agree with the Jays. Like I said earlier, I think that's just they need to prove themselves. So good comment there. Dustin Payne, we are top 10. I agree with you, Dustin. Zach Dabb, our buddy, he just posted a picture of, I don't know, a pickle, I think. It's also his profile picture. This might be a Gen Z type thing that old Yuli at 31 years old is not aware of. So sorry, Zach, I'm out of the loop on that. Ask Austin Holloway. Our friend says, Yankees overrated as always. Cleveland has no business being top 10. And per the usual, Rays will exceed these expectations. But beyond that, it's a pretty solid list. I agree with you. It's a pretty solid list. Again, I don't think I can hate on the Guardians. Maybe it's just because I want to give them the respect that they deserve. If the shoe was on the other foot and I would hear Guardians fans saying if the Rays had beaten the Guardians last year, and I would hear Guardians fans saying, "Oh, the Rays ain't got nothing." Like, be like, "Yo, respect, we beat you." So I guess I'm just doing that bit. Like, hey, they got us. I don't have any qualms with them being ranked higher. Sam Milhwish, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, says, number one, kind of confused about Braves number one over the Padres, Mets, and Astros. I agree with you, Sam. Number two, Guardians and Blue Jays too high. Rays too low, should be top 8 at least. 3, I think almost every other team is within 1 or 2 picks of where they should be. Not the worst list I've ever seen. Well, glad you think so, Sam. Locked On Podcast Network thanks you, and we also think we know our stuff. Pat B. May says, not surprised. The lack of respect continues. You tell them, Pat. Tyler McCann, our buddy in Boston, says Rays are top 10. I don't disagree with you there, Tyler. La Guayaba at Tigre Guayaba says, since when do people who publish rankings actually know anything about Tampa Bay sports? Well, yeah, we are always a little bit left behind in the dust. Writer Rasmussen Enjoyer at Rays Writer says, both the Cardinals and the Rays should be top 10. I'd move the Blue Jays and Guardians out to make room. Man, the people are really upset about the Guardians in these comments. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe I'm giving them too much prop. You guys think I'm giving them too much props? Maybe. I just don't want to be that. Oh, they beat us, so I'm gonna complain about them. Maybe that's my whole thing. I don't know. And last but not least, Chris Snyder. I think in one of the Carolinas. I think South Carolina. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, on the YouTube comments. I'm not shocked. Most people are clueless to what was going on with the Rays last year. The Rays will win the East once again. Whoa, bold take. Yankees are always overrated. Not a bad take. Playing on a little league field shouldn't be allowed. Just hot takes by Chris, as always. Yeah, man. Those are your thoughts. If you have more thoughts and you didn't get to put them on our Twitter feed, well, make sure to put them on the YouTube comments below. And again, hit that like button. It's free. And you're just going to help us reach more Rays fans that can potentially enjoy this content like you do too. Also, make sure to subscribe. Number 700 will get a shout out on the next episode, which will be on Monday. We're taking Friday off. Yeah, mental health day, people. Sometimes you need those. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen. That always means a lot to us. But you know what? You can always make your second listen within the Locked On Podcast Network. We've got many, many shows, such as Locked On Fantasy Baseball. You can do that. And they're really, really good. So make sure to check that out for your second listen. Again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching, subscribing to our YouTube channel, hitting that like button. It's free. And again, we will see you on Monday.